Hey, what's up, Guardians? TBL here, coming back at you with I guess you could call it a quick discussion video. It's the video I promised you guys last week, talking about the Bungie weekly update. Now, I wanted to let a couple of days pass before I really made a real response to this, because I didn't want the response to be too emotional, too visceral, because, of course, there are a lot of things to talk about, and we haven't done one of these for a while, but we're actually doing a dual comm on this, where myself and Black Fox are going to discuss things. What's up, buddy?
It me, big man.
It is him, big man. And we're basically just going to go over the weekly update, give you guys some thoughts about how we feel about it, and of course discuss the elephant in the room known as skill-based matchmaking and why it's good for you, and you just don't know it yet. That's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
But anyways, we did get a weekly update. You know, it didn't really have anything too big in it, which I won't say I'm surprised by. I mean, that we said as much here on the channel, that there wasn't going to be too much in the weekly update. It was just going to be an allusion to greater content down the line and maybe talking about the next big event. And that's exactly what we got. The first part of that is, of course, the Crimson Days event, which is going to be the next sort of holiday-themed event taking place in the tower. And it's going to be a specific. Did they say it was going to be PvE 2 or just PvP?
Just PvP.
Just PvP. So we're going to have Crimson Doubles, where you link up with one other Guardian for really whatever reason. They didn't really explain too much of what's going to be going on. We don't know what type of game mode it is, if it's going to be something like Rift or Control or just basic doubles game modes.
It's just going to be doubles, I assume.
Doubles game modes,
doing
yeah.
like Control with two people just sounds impossible.
A 2-on-2 Control.
It would seem slow. It would just be like a constant struggle for like the B flag.
Yeah, what if it was just one flag?
No, just one flag.
That'd be more like Capture the Flag then, but that'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. But basically, it's going to be a game mode where you'll need a dancing partner, and we don't know exactly how having a partner is going to benefit you. You know, a lot of things that went on in the Planet Destiny podcast, they discussed, what if you have a shared health pool? And I thought that might be cool. So, you know, you got two players with a shared health pool in PvP, but then Thorn. A shared health pool with Thorn? That wouldn't be so good. But anyways, that's going to be an event. Did we get a starting date for that? I think it was like, what, February 9th? Yeah,
Yes.
the 9th. So during the February 9th, we're going to see another change to the tower. We got some pictures of that. We got rose petals, lovely rose petals all over the place. Girl, I got you this rose, girl.
I got you this whole tower. It is yours to explore. She's like,
For 1 week.
For 1 week.
I see like, oh, that's what all the girls want. They want their own rose-colored tower.
Yeah.
I will say, though, you know, Destiny with these little, with these holiday events, they always blow it out of the water with the tower decorations.
Oh, yeah.
Sparrow Racing League and Festival of the Lost were really great-looking events. I'll give credit where it's due. So at the very least, the tower will look nice and lovely. Now, whether or not we're going to get themed gear like we usually do, who knows? I'd say it's probably a strong possibility that we'll be getting some new gear with the Crimson Days events.
They said sweet loot.
Sweet loot?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So maybe we're going back to candy.
Was that we might be going back to, the inconsequential stuff. I hope we at least get some new weapons and armor. Or maybe some new exotics. Some of the exotics that haven't dropped yet.
Wrong.
Please. Wrong. Dang.
Not going to happen, I don't think.
Shoot it down.
I think they're going to save that for their update after February.
For the big update?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which, you know, they alluded to. They said, oh, but we've still got something bigger coming. Just like Bungie to not really give you any sort of information to work with there, but we do know some bigger content release is coming. The other thing going on this week is, of course, the return of the Iron Banner with the much appreciated Rift game mode. I know everybody's super excited about that, right? No, not like this. Definitely not like this.
Rift is hype, bro.
So Rift will be starting today, actually, Tuesday, January 26th, and going on to Tuesday, February 2nd. And, you know, I like the Rift game mode, but it's like one of the game modes, if you're a solo player, you're going to have a rough time. Especially if you go up against pre-made fire teams, which happens all the time in Iron Banner. I don't know why you get matched with pre-mades all the time. Well, actually, we do know why, and it's going to be something we discuss next. But that's going to be going on, and the weapons I think Lord Saladin's got this week are the Fusion Rifle and the Scout Rifle. Two things Jay already got.
I wouldn't know. I don't play Iron Banner.
You should. Look, you've been complaining to me, trying to get yourself a 320 Ghost. Do it. Do it. It's so easy. Look, dude. when the weekend hits and you've got all the bounties, you can literally go from rank 1 to rank 5 in a single afternoon. It's so quick. It's so quick. I think you could sacrifice that much time. You could do it, man. I believe in you.
But you know what I'm going to be playing this weekend?
Yeah, a much better game called Monster Hunter Cross.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be big. We're going to have to catch you up, get you to high rank.
Yeah.
Although that won't take long at all. It's so quick getting through the HRs. But let's not get into Monster Hunter right here. We've got some Destiny to talk. So yeah, Lord Salad is going to be selling the Fusion Rifle and the Scout Rifle. The armor he'll be selling is the chest piece, the class items, once again, which a lot of people complained about since he hasn't been selling class items for the past 2 Iron Banners, I want to say. And PlayStation exclusive helmets and class items, which is good because I didn't get the PlayStation exclusive class item the last time the Iron Banner tournament came around, and I want it. Even though it's barely different from what we've got already, I want it because I'm that Iron Banner meech. But anyways, that's just all the stuff about Iron Banner and the Crimson Days event. We'll have greater coverage for that coming out on the channel soon. You guys know what you came to this video for, and there's no way we can end it without addressing the elephant of the room, and that is skill-based matchmaking. Lead designer Lars Bracken had a little part of this weekly update where he discussed the changes that were made to matchmaking, and yes, changes were indeed made. A little bit of backstory for this. So sometime they report back in October, they made a change to the control playlist where they implemented skill-based matchmaking. And then in the December SRL update that we got, the Sparrow Racing League, they implemented that matchmaking change to all playlists. Now immediately people noticed. Immediately people started complaining, hey, the matchmaking seems to be a little bit off. Like, I'm getting matched with people in other countries. There's lag all over the place, and we're having all kinds of weird glitches. And Bungie's initial response was, "Oh, it's Sparrow Racing League. The Crucible, the PvP community is segmented right now because half the player base is over in Sparrow Racing League, and half is in regular Crucible. So we're matching you with people who are farther away because they're the only ones who are on, right?"
Kappa.
Kappa.
We all know that SRL flaked out after the first 3 days for most people. We already know that people said, this is alright, I'm going to go back to Crucible. It did not last for that long.
Not at all. And I mean, people called it out immediately, saying, something's definitely off with the connections here. And when the excuse of it being Sparrow Racing League came out, people were like, okay, maybe. But then Sparrow Racing League ended, and the connections stayed as bad or got worse. And they've been like that for essentially 2 full months now. And when asked about it again, Bungie said no changes have been made to matchmaking. That was something that was brought forward on the Crucible Radio podcast, I do believe, where they were asked about changes to matchmaking, and they explicitly said no. And so fast forward to the weekly update that came out last week, of course, it turns out skill-based matchmaking, like we all suspected, was turned on, was implemented across the board in every Crucible playlist except Trials of Osiris, which is kind of funny.
I think it's funny because Trials of Osiris is the most casual game mode now.
It's the most that blows my mind that Trials is the casual game mode now. But it's been revealed that skill-based matchmaking has been implemented in all Crucible playlists, and Lars Bracken's explanation for it has been the source of much consternation and a lot of salt from the Destiny community, including from myself, because one, Bungie lied about it. There's no two ways about it. They lied about whether or not skill-based matchmaking was turned on, and their excuse for it isn't good enough in my opinion. What did he say? That they wanted unbiased data?
Yeah, they wanted unbiased data, that they wanted people to play through it like they didn't know it was there, when obviously we aren't spring chickens. Mm-hmm. We know shit's going on. We know that, hey, something's up and we don't like it. You need to change this. And he's like, whoa, man, I need my data. I need to make sure I have stuff for the future, man.
Like, the exact quote from the weekly update is this: "When did you start doing this in terms of changing the matchmaking? We launched the Taken King with an overhaul to the skill system that would let us gather information about how we can best prioritize a match. That work first began in October, beginning with the control playlist. Over time, we've expanded the system to cover more activities in the Crucible. In December, we activated it in all playlists." Admission that they activated skill-based matchmaking across all playlists. Next question: "Why didn't you tell me? In order to really put it through its paces, we needed raw, unbiased data. That gave us great results and allowed us to learn how to make it better. Now, I have so many problems with that statement because, of course, the big issue here is that they lied about it. And then to say that they need raw, unbiased data, you stopped getting unbiased data the moment people noticed that there was skill-based matchmaking in Crucible. And you know, it's not like it's something you can hide. There are people out there with specialized routers like NetDumas who they can see who they're pinging with. And when they see that they're pinging with someone in, say, the United or Arab Emirates or in Australia or something, they know something's not right with that matchmaking. So the excuse of wanting to get raw, unbiased data, it really just doesn't click with me. How about you?
I think it's just a bunch of bullshit.
You had a specific issue with something Lars said, didn't you?
Yeah, he basically said, "Don't worry, we know what's good for you."
The arrogance of that statement, like, hush, you don't know what you're talking about, player base. Bungie, we know what's best for you. And I mean, all of that compounded together really just makes for a terrible issue. The reason we don't like skill-based matchmaking in Crucible is because it doesn't have a place in casual play. Especially when that skill-based matchmaking prioritizes your KD, your total Crucible game score, over your connection. No P2P server-based game should ever prioritize skill over connection. Because then you have the game trying to match you with people in Australia, people in the UK, people in completely separate countries from where you are, just because they have a similar KD.
Also,
now, yep.
I think one of the alternate motives for doing this was to spare Christmas noobs from getting slapped up too bad.
Yep,
I
absolutely believe that.
I believe Bungie wanted to put this system in place. That's when they extended it into December when we had the SRL event on the 9th, I believe is when it was.
Yep.
And then extended it to all playlists. So when the Christmas noobs got their games a couple weeks later, they would be somewhat spared from getting their shit pushed in by pub stompers, and they would be just fighting each other.
This is something that that also took place in Call of Duty Black Ops 3, where during the Christmas season, Treyarch said, hey, we're going to make a change to matchmaking, an example of transparency that I really think Bungie should learn from. Mm-hmm. They turned it on. The community immediately, just like with Bungie and Destiny here, the community immediately noticed that there was something different with the matchmaking. They called it out as skill-based matchmaking. They called out Treyarch and said, hey, you guys turned skill-based matchmaking on, and we don't like it. And Treyarch responded within 24 hours with not just a community manager. No offense to Deej and Cosmo as community managers. I think they have a great position there. But the lead designer of Treyarch, David Vonderhaar, came out and said, hey, yeah, we turned something on to see what it would be like. We see you guys don't like it. We're turning it back off.
Yeah.
And that's...
I think a lot of that is there's not very good communication within Bungie.
It seems like it.
I believe that, Deej and Cosmo just kind of go around to all the departments and like, hey guys, what's going on? They're like, not much, And they went to like Lars' desk. He's like, Lars, my man, what's going on? Business as usual, Didn't really turn on skill-based matchmaker or anything. Scratch his head.
Definitely didn't do that.
No, definitely didn't do that.
As he's rubbing his hands together.
Yeah, he's just kind of like evil scheming.
And, I wouldn't have so much of a problem with it if they didn't lie to us about it. I think that's really the big issue there. If they had turned it on and said, hey, yeah, we turned on skill-based matchmaking because we're trying to get some data back, I think the community would have been able to accept that. But keeping us in the dark and then lying about it when asked, because the other option here is to believe what they said in that, oh, well, one head didn't know what the other was doing. You're telling me that a big change to the Crucible environment, the Crucible sandbox, the matchmaking was made and nobody else in the Crucible sandbox knew about it? I don't know. I just don't buy that. It doesn't seem realistic. And if it is really what happened, then that shows a real dysfunction inside Bungie's own their own development house. And I think that's that kind of internal dysfunction where one part of a team isn't talking to another when they make big changes like this. I think that's even worse than lying, because that just shows that Bungie would be a cluster. And I almost refuse to believe that they're that amateurish.
Well, if the rumors are true that Bungie's kind of running low on funds right now, which
that's another thing.
That's another rumor that's going around, is that Bungie
the live team is really, really small.
Yeah, the live team's only like 3 people or something, and then they bumped it up to 6 briefly, and then it kind of trickled back down because Silver allowed them to put new people in those spots and such. But if that report is true and they are truly stretched for
manpower,
for like manpower,
then you could see that you could see the miscommunication there being a thing.
Yeah, then I could see it being at least somewhat warranted but it still can't be accepted in that facet as well,
Yeah.
because you have to have transparency for your community.
Yep.
If you don't communicate with the community managers like Cosmo and Deej to give us some
An
feedback,
accurate account,
yeah,
yeah.
then we're
And I
left
think
in the
that's the
dark.
biggest problem.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's one of the biggest problems there. Transparency. It's what I've always asked for from Bungie. Just a transparency with how you're doing things. Again, if they had said in December, Sparrow Racing League's going live, and also we're going to be implementing a change in matchmaking. You guys might not like it, but we need it to get some data on how to help us improve the net coding. I think people would have been able to accept it more, rather than keeping us in the dark, and then when being asked about it, basically saying, no, there was no change made, only to come back again last week and say, yeah, we made a change.
Or what they're
and
doing
then tell us
is,
it was good for us. Ugh.
Or what they're doing is that they're gathering data for ranked playlists that they plan to release in Destiny 2.
Tell us that! All you have to do is say that. We're gathering data to see what a ranked playlist would be like in a future release.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even have to say Destiny 2, just say in a future release. Transparency saves so many problems, and it's really been a driving force for the community salt for Bungie over the past year. Now, I understand something that that Deej did say in the weekly update, that they're only allowed to say certain things, and I believe that's partially due to Activision,
Wink, wink.
and of course I believe that's partially due to shareholders basically controlling a lot of what you can report. But I definitely think they could be more transparent than they have been. Just absolutely. So, that's really how I feel about the skill-based matchmaking. I don't like it. I don't think it has a place in casual play. Leave that for the ranked playlist. I'm even willing to accept that for Iron Banner. And also, I think something else that's interesting here is they've also basically admitted that Iron Banner has always had skill-based matchmaking, which is something I think all of us basically low-key knew, because Iron Banner was always super-duper laggy. And there was never really an explanation for it. And the reason is because it enforces skill-based matchmaking. It looks for people who are of your skill level rather than those who are geographically close to you. And basically the playlist, the net coding that we've gotten, the matchmaking that we've gotten over the past month has been Iron Banner matchmaking. And that's why it's been so bad. But there is a bit of a light at the end of this tunnel, because Bungie did announce, yesterday, that they're going to be making some changes to matchmaking. And that I won't exactly say we should expect connections to improve, but they did put out a message saying that they've got some matchmaking updates that will be going into effect tomorrow, Wednesday, January 27th, that more emphasize a priority towards connections. That hopefully means we're going to be not so often getting connected with people who are way far out of our home countries. What do you think?
I think it's a good move, especially since you're doing it in Iron Banner, which got released earlier this afternoon, or earlier this morning. And for once, Iron Banner may not be a sweatfest. So if you want good loot, but you're a solo player, it may be the best time to actually solo queue for Iron Banner, because
if only it was Clash.
If it was Clash, dude, I would actually play Iron Banner. That's like the one thing I regret, is not playing Iron Banner when it was Clash.
When it was Clash, dude, and that was when the rewards were dropping
crispy
like candy
rewards too. Yeah.
But what were you gonna finish that up with?
Just that, if you play Iron Banner and you're like a solo player, it might be the best time to do it. Even though it is a OBJ game mode like Rift, you may get some pretty bad lobbies and be going and slapping kids. And then tomorrow, the rest of the playlist will even out, and then pubs will be bearable again, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Like I told Sean this last night, I hope they fix it rather than slightly alleviate it.
And that's what I'm a bit worried about, just to finish things up here. Because they didn't exactly say they were going to turn off skill-based matchmaking. They said they were just going to prioritize connections a little bit more. They were going to tweak things a little bit. I mean, I think I've got the quote right here. Lord Saladin's Battle for the Spark will feature new matchmaking settings that will assign more emphasis to connection quality. These changes will be made in an effort to reduce lag. There will still be some consideration given to matchmaking you with worthy adversaries, but that's a thing we've done since Destiny first shipped. The 24-hour gap will provide us with 2 sets of data to compare and scrutinize, all part of the plan. If you play Iron Banner after the deployment, we'll want to know what you have to say. And then they tell you to basically go to the feedback area of their forums and whatnot and post about it.
That's like the wild, wild west when you go to the Bungie forums.
Oh, avoid the Bungie forums. Those guys are crazy. I love them, though. But basically, that's what they said. They're going to be tweaking things to make sure that it's a bit more connection focused, but they won't be turning off skill-based matchmaking. It's still going to take your skill into account. As long as it prioritizes connections, though, I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
And alright, is there anything else you wanted to say about this? About it being good for you? And
it may give me a
Bungie knows
reason
best?
Yeah, it may give me a reason to actually play Crucible again, but
yeah.
Other than that, I don't think... I'm still waiting for, like, PvE stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm ready for the PvE content.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll be getting some information about that sometime soon, because Destiny is in dire need of it.
Yeah.
The Division is right around the corner. We've got the beta for that coming up this week, just a few days, and I will be getting in on that.
I might join you if I get the code. I may do the Amazon cheese. I may do it.
Do it. Do it.
All right.
But alright, that's pretty much all we wanted to talk about. Those are my thoughts and John's thoughts on the Bungie Weekly Update. Again, the too long didn't read version. Crimson doubles, that's cool. Rift, I wish it was Clash and Iron Banner, but whatever. Skill-based matchmaking, we don't like it. We know Bungie implemented it, and we don't like the fact that they lied about it. That's probably the worst thing they could have done. But it's hopefully going to be alleviated starting tomorrow in all the Crucible playlists. But those are our thoughts. Be sure to leave us yours in the comment section below. And thanks so much for taking the time to watch this rant of a video. I have no idea what the footage for this video is going to be. It's probably just going to be the daily, maybe some patrols or something. And that'll do just fine. But anyways, thanks so much for watching, guys. And as always, I am the Black Link. You Guardians, stay frosty.